Well, good afternoon.
I was actually going to wait for a minute and not say anything. That's just impossible.
We haven't had that pause before. I don't know, maybe it's because we're in show 8.
Is it 8?
Show 8, yeah.
8 with 8 guests or?
8 with 7 guests.
Okay.
Yeah, we had that one in between. But and also it's because it's the start of the week. We're recording on a Sunday rather than usual Wednesday.
It's just weird.
Yeah, but anyway, it's a great pleasure.
Who have we got today?
We have Candy Fanucci here from Pirate Surf Rescue Team, and we're going to have a great chat on all the things that Candy's done since she's arrived here from 2000 and before that as well. So welcome, Candy.
Thank you so much for having me.
Welcome.
Thank you.
I mean, it's to hear about so many things about what you're doing in the community.
Yeah.
So many children have gone through the program of capable swimmers, lifesavers. 400 odd kids you've got going at the moment, something like that?
Yeah, we're lucky enough. We've got 400 kids between the age of 5 and 20 and 1,722 on the wait list. So very fortunate.
Yeah. That urban myth, Rex, of 500 on the waiting list went out the window when we
a lot more.
Yeah.
A lot more. So, because you've done so much in the community, you're always active, you're all over the place. Kite Beach, you're in doing the X-line, you've got slingshot. Maybe we should just, like most things you do, is go back to your early life. And where did it all start? Where did Candy come from, if you know what I mean? And where it leads you today. I think that's probably the best we can do.
It's actually quite interesting. I was obviously born in South Africa to a very sporty family. My dad played provincial cricket and rugby. And we were born into sport. And unfortunately, when he was 9, he passed. When I was 9, he passed away from cancer. Fittest human being on this planet. Super fit, ran every day, never drank, never smoked, and smoked one day, said he wasn't feeling good. And 6 weeks later, he was dead. So that was a huge knock to the family. And anyhow, I had a brother who was 2 years older at the time. And we lived in Pretoria. I carried on my sports. I was very lucky to be quite talented at sports. I was at top level for swimming, 100 meters athletics, 200 meters athletics, hockey. So my whole life was sports, which was really good. And my mom managed to meet the most incredible man. And he didn't have kids. He was a 6'4" giant, and he lived in the game reserve. So off we moved to the game reserve in the Eastern Transvaal, in the middle of nowhere. But it was probably the most incredible experience ever, and I believe that's where I was actually shaped and where I learned what I've carried forward today. And literally every lesson, I absolutely worshipped the ground he walked on. And he used to catch game, so we'd catch all his game purely for conservation. So we'd have buffaloes in our garden and rhinos, and the object was for us to form a team. So I would be flying the helicopters as air crew, and he'd be on the ground catching the animals.
Right.
So that's where it all started. And we did. He was the first person ever to guarantee a wild animal's safety. So within 30 days of the capture, if the animal died due to stress, which happens a lot with game, then he would replace it free of charge. So, we traveled around the world. We had, Dakotas where we took all the seats out of these old Dakotas and put mattresses in and flew 3 helicopters at the same time. 3 helicopters at the same time, taking, airlifting, antelope out of these mountainous areas into the back of the decks and flying into the farm. And so it was really. Even as a teenager, I always thought, why am I so lucky? Why did I get to live this, experience?
Yeah.
I'd sit we had a stile crossing over the fence, and every night I'd go and watch that sunset. And that was like as a 15, 16-year-old thinking, God, this is heaven.
Right.
And my mom and Pete had a little boy, PJ. And then when he was a year old, we had some high-level government ministers on the farm, and we'd do some capture for animals, and we'd do hunting, not really hunting, culling the old wildebeest and that. So they arrived, and it must have been at about 2 o'clock. They'd just come through a catcher literally for the last week, driving through Africa with all these animals on board. So my dad hadn't slept. Anyhow, at midnight, they said no, they needed to go hunting. So he went down, went to go and collect our Land Cruiser, and on the way back, he must have fallen asleep on the back of the open landy. It flipped and landed on his chest and killed him instantly. And I think that's when literally our life took a complete 180.
Yeah.
And my mom really struggled from then because she was about 42 when she had my brother. So I was left to literally raise him, which was great. I mean, he became like my own son.
And how old were you when this happened?
I was 17.
Right. So you really were thrown in at the deep end.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So anyhow, but again, it was, incredible experiences and the philosophies that my dad taught me at that time, I've carried through still today. I teach it at Pirates, we'd go on a capture with 40 of the staff, and no one was allowed to eat until all the staff were fed and had their tents and they were warmed. And he said, right, now we eat. If you don't look after your staff, they will not look after you. Mm-hmm. So I always adapt, and I absolutely cherish those philosophies. And then I carried on, started the helicopters there. We had a fantastic old Belgian helicopter instructor who actually flew in the Belgian War. He was shot down. He auto-rotated into some crops and had a terrible accident. But anyhow, he was great. He taught me how to fly, and that's how the whole flying kind of passion developed. And, one of the other instructors was a Zimbabwean guy called Barney O'Hara, who actually had a couple of drinks one night and fell asleep on the middle of a highway. And a car went over his head. And but would fly, literally he put a towel over the control panel and said, right, that's how you're going to fly.
Yeah.
Guys, I can't switch this off. Hold on. And that's how...
Maybe producer Olivia could turn it off. Thanks.
Sorry, Todd, you're going to do some editing.
Thanks, producer Olivia. That's excellent.
And also welcome producer Ted, so we don't want to leave you out. Yeah.
Where was I now?
Well, I think just about everyone in Africa is getting involved in accidents of some sort. And that's where we left. I shouldn't make light of that. I'm sorry, I apologise.
Absolutely.
So flying helicopters, Belgian.
But it was beautiful. And then we moved, once my dad passed away, we stayed there for another year, and then the farm was sold to another group of investors, which my mum decided we'd move. And we moved to Natal. Mm-hmm. And I think that's where my whole life-saving beach, there was no helicopters at the time there, so I went on to fixed wing. And I started flying small aircraft, and then to get kind of money for it, I would work at the flying school, refueling aircraft, washing windscreens, and taxing them up and down, taking them for the MPIs, filling out the CFIs, logbooks, and so that's how I started flying fixed wing. And I met my ex-husband. So we were both involved with flying, and then we got married and moved to Mauritius. And at the time, women pilots weren't obviously allowed in Mauritius, so he carried on flying, and I went into swimming. Right. And opened up my swimming academy. And we spent 10 years in Mauritius and then moved to Dubai in September 2000.
2000.
Yeah, so long time.
And what was the reason for moving to Dubai? Just new opportunities, or?
He was actually under a contract as a Mauritian pilot. And their pay was a quarter of what the expats were. So we just decided it was time to leave. So I came to Dubai, and he got a job with Emirates Airline. Okay. And so that's how we started with Emirates.
And you possibly couldn't have been, not doing anything for more than 5 minutes, knowing you. I'm sure.
I tried. So I tell you now, I just once we got going, and I think I started working as a swimming instructor, and then I thought, no ways, we're going to try some other things, and then we managed to get these road studs that was in from one of his brothers. And it took me about 6 months to get into the RTA. So one day they weren't taking my calls, and I thought,
studs
no.
It's
a road stud that goes into the road, so it's a reflective.
Okay.
It was actually made from Swarovski crystal.
Right.
And I took a big bouquet basket of flowers with all these yellow flowers, and I pegged all my road studs in, and I found out when His Excellency Matar Al-Taya's secretary was available, if he was in the office, and it was actually lucky. I had Georgia with me, and she came, and we walked in the office, and I said, I'm sorry, I've just come to deliver this gift for His Excellency. She said, oh, well, hold on, come inside. He's actually here. You can deliver the flowers, and we've got the golf news here. So I thought, yes. So he opened up, and he saw Georgia, and she was this little blonde hair, blue-eyed, pigtail sticking out, and they took pictures, and he said, come, sit down. And there was my basket of flowers with a presentation and that. And I said, look, I'm really sorry. I've been trying to get to speak to somebody of where I can install these. So one phone call, he had half of the IT in his office.
Brilliant. That's how you do it.
And he said, right, go and choose. Where do you want to install them? I said, give me the most dangerous places or accident-prone places in Dubai. So anyhow, we did selected a place just near Safa Park, one by the Trade Center, which I must say, the road studs are still in the road today. And so I had one little pickup truck with 3 gentlemen in the back of it, and we managed to shut down the whole of Sheikh Zayed Road down. I was literally doing cartwheels at 2 o'clock in the morning because we could only work between 12 o'clock and 4 o'clock in the morning. So I had one with a jackhammer drilling, the other one with epoxy, and I was putting the road studs in, stripping it off. And so that was job number 1. And then it was just before, obviously, Dubai hit a bit of a wobble, so I didn't get it approved. But it was amazing. And then I carried on with the swimming, and then opened up a club. I opened up 2 clubs and then lost all of it. And then went on to, we got divorced and literally started off with, I reckon, a bag in my hand and a bicycle. And that's how I literally started up again. So, we started from scratch and literally lived on McDonald's because it was the only thing that I could afford. And then went on to Kite Beach and saw this empty piece of this beach. And there was like a CID hut. And there was an old guy watering. And I said, look, can I just build a little gym here on the beach? And he said, okay, hold on, you need to speak to somebody. So this one local came, and I just drew a picture. And I said, look, I really want to build this. Can we do it? So I got hold of my neighbor who lived next to us in Mauritius, who had an interior company here. Mm-hmm. And he had old bits of wood and that. So I said, right, 7 meters, about 14 meters. Up we went, put our little beach gym, got Live Fitness to sponsor the equipment. And then municipality came in one day. We just opened and said, where's all your papers? And don't have any papers. Tenancy contract? No, don't have any. Who has tenancy contracts at the time? So literally a week later, the boss arrived and from His Highness's office, and they said, this looks really good. Would you like a job to look after Kite Beach and manage it? I said, great. So I did that, and that's how
you became Mrs. Kite Beach.
That's how I became Mrs. Kite Beach. And I started cleaning the streets and sweeping it.
So what years? I'm just trying to put a picture on. What year is that?
That was 10 years ago.
2010.
Yeah.
Okay. And that was just when the building really started on Kite Beach, wasn't it?
There was nothing at the time. We had that little gym, and then I started laying grass, and I put these little wooden fences up because I thought Dubai's got such glitz and glamour. And, obviously coming divorced and that I love to see and wanted families, to bring families together. And I thought if I can create something that, they can come and spend the weekend at, sitting on the grass on the beach, I want to do that. So laid all my grass, and it just became, and I'd see a lot of, I think the kids took a huge knock because, again, I was cleaning up, thousands. At one stage, I was ordered to water the grass for like 12 hours a day. I wasn't allowed to move. I just watered the grass. I picked up cigarette butts for 10 hours a day. But I thought, no, at the end of the day, it shaped me, and I could have put my head down and think, I'm above this, but I needed to provide food for my 3 kids. And I thought, I'd see the Jumeirah Janes walking past, and I said, I will make sure that I do everything to the best of my ability. If I'm going to pick up papers, I'll pick up every paper I can see on the beach, every cigarette butt. And so, cleaning the streets, I met the most incredible people. They'd stop in the car, and, that's how, and then I asked to build one building, and then that's how, then I got plans to do another one, and, trying to learn how to lay these cables and, it was, what's a DB box? Okay, that's a DB box. This sort of Y looks like. This is an earth. This is a neutral. This is how we do it. And it was great fun. The laborers were literally like my family. I treated them, obviously always bearing in mind the way my dad had spoken and the way he taught me. And that's how, again, once it got developed, then there was a piece of land just behind where the skate park is. And I would get so sad thinking, like, I was so lucky to have grown up on this farm that a lot of the kids, I want them to share this kind of opportunity. So I took out my paper and pictures out the magazine, stuck it in, said, right, this is my mood board. This is what I want this place to look like. It took about 2 years, but eventually got the approval. And we then built, it was called The Journey at the time.
Right.
My one daughter named it, and the other one was designing it. And whatever we did as a family, which is still where Pirates is now.
Yeah.
And so The Journey was born, and it's got all made by Cape Reed, which is all the South African reed and the South African big oak things. And it's a tree house. It's a little river that flows through. It's got chickens and ducks and ponies and goats. And so it's, again, I'm very well looked after in terms of, the GM of Exeter by Javad Koromifar actually was really good. He believed in me, and that's why he gave me the opportunity to continue on with the skate park and the X park, and that's when I was put onto the X line. So
it's all interconnected.
Correct.
Which we didn't know until about an hour and a half ago when we met in the hotel, and you just said, "Oh, and I've done the X line. Oh, and the slingshot. Oh, and this." It's like, I mean, is there anything that you haven't done? Frankly,
of course there is.
It's incredible. So, with the X line, can you just give us a little bit, because the X line doesn't really fit into your specialist skill set, does it? And I find it quite amazing that you said that you don't like heights and you're a helicopter pilot. I'm sorry, that just doesn't equate. So
if you're in control, it's different.
Okay, so it's a control freak thing, is it? Okay.
I reckon it is. Absolutely. I think you're right, yeah.
So tell me about X-Line. How did it all start?
Well, again, the GM decided, he said, look, he just called me into his office one day and said, look, this project has started. You need to hop in and help out. I thought, oh, God, a zip line. Okay, I will Google my zip lines. Went back. So I was one of the assistant project managers on it. And it was probably one of the greatest things and opportunities I've ever got, because it was so interesting.
And just for the benefit of any of the listeners, where is the X line in Dubai?
It's in the marina.
Yeah.
You can't miss it. Honestly, it's an incredible experience. Although
you say it's an incredible experience. You haven't actually done it now, have you, Candy?
That is on my bucket list. I'm going to do it. I will do it. But yeah, we were working right through the night, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning on jet skis, pulling cables across the marina, over bridges, and I'd get home, shower, and off to work at the skate park and X Park Junior. So I was living on 1-2 hours sleep, but it was just so challenging and incredible, and stopping traffic and throwing lines over the tram because we weren't allowed to cross over the tram without certain approvals.
So it's going now?
Yeah, it's still operational.
And it goes 12 months of the year?
It has been, it has been going, and it's really busy. It's, as I said, it's one of a kind, and it's one of the longest urban zip lines in the world.
Brilliant.
So it's fantastic.
Is it connected? Because there was another one down at Dubai Fountains.
Yeah,
that's
one.
Different. It's a different one.
That's also Dubai Mall, but then that was closed and then opened at Marina.
Right, okay. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Well, maybe we should give that a go, Rex.
I've got to.
Yeah, I think so. My wife actually was given 2 tickets, and I didn't quite make it.
You didn't get the memo.
No. In fact, it was the boss of Apple at the time said, "Oh, I fancy doing that,"
and you just handed it over.
She said, "Right, that was you go."
Well, I can give you. I was given VIP tickets, and it's just in my drawer.
All right, Rex, we'll get you up there.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So I stayed there got it operational, and then was given the human slingshot, which we built on Kite Beach. which was again.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love that name. Yeah. I love that name.
A human slingshot.
Yeah.
Was it when your brain goes through your arse in about 0.3
Yeah.
of a second. So tell us about the human slingshot
and some of the noises that people make when they're on it.
I mean, how fast do you go and in what time?
You know what? It just depends on your weight as well. So there's markings along the sand, but you obviously have to get weighed before, because you can't shoot a tiny, skinny person from the furthest mark, because there'll be nothing left.
But it'll be quite fun.
I'm sure it will be. But yeah, you can reach up to 104 kilometers in 0.2 seconds from the very back. So it's an incredible experience. It really is.
You say what an incredible experience. Have you done this as well, Candy?
I have, yes.
Oh, you've done? Okay, very good.
Wow. Tell us more about that.
Well, the first time that we were operating, obviously we had our SOPs, but it had never been operated outside of Europe. So this was in Dubai. You're on the beach. Your conditions are different to mountain conditions where they were. So we had some very important guests arriving to test it out as a kind of an opening. And the wind started picking up as it does on Kite Beach. And I was checking the anemometer thinking, oh boy, we're going to have to try and change this because it's gusting and we can't let any important people go onto this line. So I called the designer in Italy and said, look, what do I do? He said, you've got to get onto it now. Video someone going on it. Show me the recordings of the wind. I'll update the manual and you're good to go. So I said to everyone, right, guys, who's going? Who's ready to go? Come, Azzy, who's going? And everyone said, no way.
Everyone's looking at their watches. I
think I probably know where this is going now.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I kept on praying to see some kind of a hint of enthusiasm from one of them. But eventually I thought, okay, just do this. You can do this. And I had to be hoisted up because it pulls you up about 3 meters. And then you've got a band and then you get stretched right back. And I was actually so hoarse from screaming that when they arrived, I couldn't speak to them properly. But it worked, and it was great. And I actually enjoyed it because every day you've got to do a tester. So we used to do like a roster of who was going to be tested, because you start off the day being pulled across the sky. But it was really good. It was brilliant. And again, I learned so much from that. I mean, again, getting pages, and one thing I'll tell you, I'm not gifted in maths and numbers. So from the X line to the slingshot, and okay, even on flying, that's why I was happy on helicopters, because I said, look, is the fuel, have we got full of fuel? Right, let's go. Forget weight and balance, wind's destination, none of that.
Fill the tank up.
Let's go, yeah.
I love it.
So that was my experience there, which was really good.
Very varied, all of the things you're doing. Is there some things you'd like to do that you haven't done yet? Or is it all seems to be, well, why didn't you try this? Or why didn't you do this? And you go, yeah, okay, I'll do it.
I don't know. I think in terms of like personal things, I see that for pirates. Yeah. There's so much I want to do with pirates.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I want to kind of channel my energies, and I've got some really good dreams that we're trying to work towards for that. So I think that's where the energy is going into that. I think that pirates is growing, and it's still got a long way to go. But, I truly believe my purpose here is to be able to, I went through what I did to learn the lessons that I've done, to actually help as many people as I can, and to give something back. I believe that's my purpose now. I want to take care of as many people as I can, take care of as many kids that I can, change their lives, have an impact on their lives that they can, there's a lot of, kids that are suffering, that are unhappy, that are in difficult positions. And honestly, that is my greatest joy, is being able to help them. And I believe that's why I was given Pirates. And I'll never misuse that or abuse that. It's the most incredible platform to connect with people, to connect with kids, and it doesn't matter, we've got 400 kids, but I can tell you, if one kid walks in and I can see they're not right, I will know. And, it's...
Because you have the 3-strike approach, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think today's kids go through a lot of issues. My eldest daughter was really bullied at school here, and she landed up becoming anorexic, and she's been fighting it for 15, 20 years.
Okay.
So again, I don't ever want another parent to go through that. I don't want to see another child go through that.
Sure.
So again, it's if kids are caught bullying or excluding each other or any one thing on social media, they get 3 strikes and they are removed from the club immediately.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's all like teaching old school values. It's I know that there's a modern society, but I'm really, really old school. Girls like pink and boys like blue. Boys open the doors for girls. Girls respect the boys, and I do not budge from that. I honestly don't.
No, that's good.
It's. I think those fundamentals are missing a lot.
Does the level of satisfaction that you get from seeing kids find themselves, so they turn up and they start up and they're probably not sure, they don't have the skill sets, but then you see how they blossom and they grow in confidence. That must be one of the...
You see, I get goosefish because
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
no words to describe that. Like that is probably the most rewarding thing on this planet.
Yeah.
And it's to, luckily we've had kids come through that have been with me for 10 years now, 9 years that they were little students. And, even my own daughter started when she was a little girl, and they've come through. They've now, they're coaches, and, I'm going to take them under my wing, some of them, to develop pirates globally and take them and say, right, how lucky you have to have kids that have been with you since tiny. They understand the system, the ethos, the methods, how I coach, how I talk to the kids. And it's like having little, prints of yourself.
I read a little bit, and you're talking about Sri Lanka, Maldives, Bali. So that would be your idea. Take what you've done here and set up different bases.
Well, basically, what you mentioned now is where we've taken them on tour. So we went to Sri Lanka, for example, and again, I get the kids back to basics. Like, for example, I had some seniors. We rented an Airbnb. As we got there, right, guys, shoes off. You want to learn, you want to eat fish. We're going to find the fishermen to go and teach you how to fish on those sticks. Everyone catches fish. They were given, I think it was like 200 rupees or something like that. They had to go grocery shopping, prepare 3-course meal, entertain, cook, everything. So, Sri Lanka we've been to about 4 or 5 times now, which has been fantastic. Maldives we're due to go next month. Back again, if COVID permitting.
Yeah.
I think people think it's easy to duplicate or come in and start something or do exactly what you're trying to do. But to build up something where we have to now has taken 10 years. And I could not have done it any sooner. It's taken 10 years of extensive research, finding the right people. And it's a real family kind of business, not only the parents, but within my own family. My eldest daughter, Jax, is probably one of the most creative people ever, and she has designed the brand, the logo. She's been writing the manuals, ops manuals, even for coaches and she is the brains behind it. My younger one, and she's now a coach, she helps with the lesson plan. She's been there, she's lived it. And even my son, before he left to the US, he's now married and living there, he coached. He used to work full-time, get back from the beach, coach them, and we'd sit around and, we'd brainstorm, what are we doing, how are we doing it, how can we change it, how can we make it better? And all 3 of them have gone through incredible hardships as well, with me. I didn't go through it on my own. Yeah. And they've all experienced incredible loss as well. They were very close to both my brothers, especially the younger one who lived with us for a long time. And he was my son, so it was like their brother. And, he lived and he shared a room with JJ, so they were, very close. And then...
Are you happy to talk about this?
Yeah, absolutely. It's given me the ability to help others in the same position. And my eldest brother committed suicide. He shot himself in South Africa. And 2 years later, my younger brother, who was 23 at the time, hung himself in Abu Dhabi, which was devastating for both of that, because you can't put words to that. You can't describe what you go through. Even from my mom's perspective of losing two sons, 2 husbands, that's tough going. It's really it's difficult. So that really shook our foundations, so much. And then again, having from living the high life of having the villa and the Land Rover, and to absolutely nothing. So again, it's we've used all of those experience to build up Pirates to where it is today. So
I was going to say you can. Yeah. It's so hard to say this, but you've grown from it.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I don't actually regret anything that I've experienced. I don't even regret. Yes, I often think my life would have been so different because, especially my younger brother, was so protective over us. He was literally our bodyguard. So having lost that, but again, maybe I wouldn't have stood on my own 2 feet the way I did had he still been around, or I hadn't been so driven to get to where we are today. So I think, things happen for a reason, and we have to take the positive things out of it, and use those. Whether it's sport is the greatest leveler for everybody.
Absolutely.
I think our whole family and all my kids, my youngest one, daughter, actually played for the UAE rugby. My son and I were the only actually mother and son playing international rugby at the same time. So, we've done, such, great things. My eldest daughter as well, she also played training for the UAE. I was first person to bring out, firstly brought out Francois Pena to come and do a bit of a training camp. Right. And then I said to Francois, no ways, let's get Martin Johnson in. So we called Martin Johnson, brought him out, and we did like a barbecue, a really super relaxed Q&A, Bri having some, in a really relaxed environment. And I said, right, I want all 5 World Cup captains. So we got John Smith, Nick Farr-Jones, John Eales, Francois Pena, all of them out here. And
2 Australians, did you notice that?
Well,
I just want to tell you.
I'm going to make a call to Richie McCaw after this. He will be bitterly disappointed he didn't get an invite, I just want to say.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, so, David Kirk was invited.
Okay.
He didn't
make
it? No.
Right.
So, we had
So, 2 Australians still. Okay.
Disappointing. I apologise on behalf of...
And you got all those people. Well, if it was a barbecue, it wouldn't have been under the same roof. But
we did an awesome coaching clinic. I bought our Daniel Carter and Osteron the year before that, and did like a backs and a forwards training camp, and then again Q&A.
I went to that.
It's not.
I went to that evening.
Yeah. Wow.
Candy, do you mind? Next time you get some really good international rugby players, can we steal them from you, and we can bring them in here, please?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. No, it's again. I think Dubai is so open for to do new things, to start new things, to bring out. It's a haven. People love Dubai, and it's really easy to do things. And I think, but to do it differently. I always want to do something different. I hate sitting and doing the same thing, and I'll never look at what other people are doing. I don't care if there's a swimming club, doing. For me, it was to always do something different. Have a triathlon, but. Have the first junior triathlon with kids of age of 4 with fairy wheels on the back of their trainer wheels and teddy bears strapped to their baskets. And, we did it. And I was like sold out in 24 hours. Yeah. But it was just doing something different, giving back. I think that's what, if everyone could think, to say, right, what can I give back? A lot of people are, it's take. It's materialistic, and it's, it's, what car you drive, what house you live in. No, it's not. When we go one day, we're going to have nothing. You're not going to have any of that to take with you. So,
and to have that beautiful beach there, for maybe 9 months of the year, 3 months is a bit hot, but it's beautiful.
Absolutely, and this year due to COVID, obviously everyone stayed, and we managed to train through July and August. Yeah. We just did it early morning and late evening, and the kids managed. It was watching that every day. I watched that sunset over Atlantis, and I think. Whoa, that is. And exactly. I tell the kids, look at that sunset. Isn't that beautiful? Look how lucky we are. And in the morning on the Friday and Saturday, it's just glass. And I think, whoa.
No, that's
and,
special.
Getting the kids to actually see that and appreciate that, because they'll come down to training and sometimes their head is down. And it's just to stop, think, right, let's be grateful for where we are. Say thanks to your parents,
Producer Olivia.
No, that's the horse feed man coming to deliver the horse feed.
That's important.
There's never a quiet minute, is there, Candy? A horse feed man. It's 7 o'clock. It's horse feed man.
Okay.
Ah, there we go.
So a couple of things on the beach. The running track came, and obviously that brought a lot. How did that develop?
There was RTA and
Okay.
DM that put that, yeah.
And then also the other event, which is the corporate games.
Yes, that's the government games.
That's
yeah.
the government games. That happens every year.
Yeah, that does. It was obviously delayed, but it is going to happen this year again.
Right.
Yeah.
Because one thing I noticed is there's events, but as soon as they're up, they're down. It's
In a way, it's really good because the beach is sacred.
Yeah,
and
right.
To have any building on the beach it's a crime in my eyes. And even
Exactly.
when I see these generators and food
Yeah.
on the beach, and it's not what's meant to be. The beach
Nothing
should
hangs
be
around.
really taken care of. So if there is an event, I think, I support that. Do the events. There's, a lot of events that I had in mind that I wanted to do as well. I wanted to create a bit like a Hunger Games kind of thing, and building an arena out on the sea, and people get to sponsor their athletes, and who's got the flame, and the flame goes out. That there is so much that you can do, but I would never do anything permanent. As I say, the beach is
that's
so
a great
precious.
part. I mean, I love that you've even got a library book area out there now. So
Yeah.
little so you can.
Yeah, that's Dubai Municipality.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they've got a great group of people behind them as well. Really very inspirational, also very caring. I've known them for since I've been on the beach, and they're so supportive, and so it's I think generally Dubai's done so well with getting the right people in the right places now, and I think both His Highness Sheikh Mohammed and Sheikh Hamdan are so hands-on, where nothing goes unseen. Nothing. Sheikh Mohammed, I've seen him driving past on the beach numerous times. So it's nice that you have that, that person with that vision of yes, expand Dubai. And I actually did a presentation. I didn't get it to the right people, unfortunately, of having, it's like a shwibo that you sit into it, and it was supposed to go above 2 meters above the running track, and it's like a little capsule that you sit in, and you can pedal, or you can do it like a concept 2-rower with solar paneling all the way down. They would lit up the whole of Jumeirah, but you could have 2 pods where you've got a kid in front of you, and then every 3Ks you can go down to the base, jump out, and doing things like that actually give back to people, keep them fit, keep them healthy. I mean, you go on that running track in the morning, and it's jam-packed in the evening as well. Now, isn't that so good to see that?
Yeah. No, it's we live 10 minutes away from it, and that's the great part about it, to being there early in the morning till late at night. It's a focused part of it. Also, I was just thinking. Sorry, were you going to say something?
No, it's getting used, I think, and that's the important part.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
No, I was thinking. I mean, we've talked about for the kids, but also there is part of Pirates is boot camp for adults too, isn't it?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah.
That's something we've started now, because I think that it's great for the kids to see the families working out and their parents working out, and the parents often set an example, to the kids. So we've started that, and then the plan is to work up to the parents program, where they're actually a master's program that can compete as well. Next bucket list, which I will definitely achieve, is to do the first International Surf Lifesaving Championships for kids. And I have approached the US and South Africa and Australia and New Zealand to actually bring in teams of kids here and compete, and might be the first, competition ever in history for kids here.
Well, it would be great to have it here, wouldn't it?
Absolutely.
And that's so good, another first.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
And I do believe that we'll get there. As I
Yeah,
said,
that will happen.
we're working on our headquarters, which is definitely needed. I want a base where kids can feel at their home,
Sure.
and creating a tradition where you have your big board up and you can see captain of this year, that year, where they can bring their kids to one day and say, look, you see, I was captain that year, or athlete of the year, or paddler of the year. And, it's setting foundations. And I think as Dubai's progress, there are more and more people that are spending a longer time here. So you can create that, that kind of vision for the kids to look up to.
Horseman?
No?
Horse feed man?
Yeah.
Someone else now.
Yeah.
Chicken feed.
Exactly.
Chicken feed's done.
Okay.
Yeah, so again, there is so much
So
potential.
much more to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
We just need to get this COVID thing knocked on the head, and then
Absolutely.
get back to what it
Definitely.
was.
And the parents are absolutely incredible in Pirates. They're so loyal. They are, they are always there to help out. I put out, any kind of message if there's a family in need, and within 5 seconds I've got 40, 50 replies, and everyone pulls together and wants to help out that family, or one parent lost his job, and within 3-4 days we've managed to find him another job. That's a community. That's
a great thing.
That's community.
Yeah, someone would be very, very pleased with that, wouldn't they? Yeah.
Indeed.
There's a chap we know who is very strong on the community,
Yeah.
as he calls it,
Yeah.
and you highlight that quite brilliantly.
No, exactly.
You're an inspiration, really, aren't you? Let's face it. You are.
No, not at all. As I say, I have a vision and I have a purpose, and I can't misuse that purpose. And whatever I learned, I want to be able to continue doing that and continue, helping and changing kids and parents' lives wherever I can, and making Dubai, putting my little, roots in Dubai as well. Creating better destination and a place where kids can actually call home. That's important.
Well, you're definitely doing that.
You are. I think
Thank
that's
you so
probably
much.
about the best way of wrapping up. Really,
Exactly.
you've just said it all there.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much
Thanks
for
for
your
your
time.
time,
It's
Kim.
been
Thank
great
you
to
so
meet you.
much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Fantastic.
Oh, who have we got coming in a couple of days' time? Anyway.
Oh, right, yes. On Wednesday, we have a Scottish gentleman coming in who is
Bearing
decided...
in mind that this, of course, is only going to go out in a few days' time, isn't it? We're going to hold this one back, aren't we, for a few days?
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah, possibly.
So,
Yeah.
all right. So anyway, Wednesday. I'm sorry for interrupting.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, we've got a gentleman coming in on Wednesday. So...
Are you going to keep this under wraps, or a gentleman?
Well, yes. So there's a guy called Sandy Sterling, who a lot of people will know, and he is going to be cycling on Saturday for 12 hours for a very good cause of motor neuron disease. And he's going to come in and just give us a bit of a chat before he does it on what he's done, his training, and what he's doing out of it. So
We look forward to that.
should be good.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thanks again.
Thank
Thanks,
you so
Candy.
much for having me. Thank you.
Okay.